Well, it's taken me a little while to get round to doing this, but as I promised back in the spring, I would return to tunnel 3 and take you on a little tour of how it looks now that all the plants have fluffed up. And aren't they looking lovely? We're gradually getting all the shingle in. We've had to wait for the second load of shingle to arrive because apparently there's a plant problem. So hopefully we might have that next week and we can finish that job off. But I'd still need to get in here and sort out the jumble of plants, because when I moved everything in February, naturally they were just looking like empty pots, and I didn't really give them enough room, despite knowing that they would need a fair bit. I didn't give them enough. I think the colours just look lovely, and I'm quite chuffed because I had to work on memory, trying to remember whether what I was handling was a variegated one or a plain leaved one, and sort of trying to make sure that they didn't all argue with each other, and worked hard to show each other off. I do have a row along the side of the tunnel here, I'm just panning up here, of plants that went with me to the Suffolk show that will probably go with me to Hyde Hall in August. So many people have said to us how much they have enjoyed walking through this tunnel this season. It's been a delight, and I have to say, if I do have a few minutes spare, I'm doing exactly the same thing, because it's just so nice to walk around all these beautiful plants and re-familiarise myself as well, because we only have about half our national collection available for sale, so you become sort of uber familiar with all those varieties, and there are plenty there that don't often see the light of day. They're not produced commercially for whatever reason. I'm going to have to play around with some of the heights as well of plants in here, because some are naturally lower growing than others and are being drowned out by some thuggish brutes near to them. So still lots of work to be done. So here I am at the top end of the tunnel, just wandering around the rear mound. Do still love Gold Standard. It's one of my favourites of the variegated ones. Such an old variety, but it spawned so many interesting and very popular modern cultivars. But I still think it's quite hard to beat the original. I know when Dad was still alive and doing shows, for 2 pins he said he used to think he could just hitch up a tunnel and take it to a show. Because how do you select the ones you take and the ones that get left behind when there's so much to see? Something else we need to sort out is also some form of labelling system that can stand proud of the plants. The fact that they're labelled on the sides of the pots is not particularly useful when they're so crowded. It's a lovely day for light. It's not bright, it's overcast, the heat isn't too intense. Consequently, it's really rather lovely in here and lush. Even on the brightest day, it's noticeably several degrees cooler in here, so it's worked well with the net. Heading towards the end of where we managed to reach with the gravel. As I say, most of it's done. That's a particularly jumbled section here, all arguing with each other. I did think at one point, stupidly, that I would go through and I'd name them all for you, but I think this would be a stupidly long video and most of us haven't got the time to sit through that kind of thing. So I'm sure some will have leapt out at you as familiar, and there are variations on the theme, like with a lot of genus. There's a lot of what looks like almost duplication, but there. Hope you've enjoyed your little tour.